Okay guys, I'm actually like super excited about what we're about to do because I had one thing planned for a really long time and then literally just now as I'm recording this video, I completely changed the plan because I think this is going to be way more fun and cooler. So, what you're going to do is we are going to be making pop art, Andy Warhol inspired pop art from, you know, in pop art he made art out of everyday objects, okay? Now we could draw an everyday object that we use, like a pencil or something like that, which is what I was originally planning on doing. But then this genius idea hit me. Why don't we make pop art out of something we write every day, which is our names? So what we're going to do is we're going to make some Andy Warhol inspired pop art from our names. Very excited. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do, you are going to need a ruler for this, okay? So what you're going to do, and my paper might be different than yours, so you definitely have to measure and use your whatever measurement you come up with, okay? And if you're not sure, ask me, ask your neighbor if like, is this right? Because like, I'm not great at math, so I struggle with it sometimes too. But I try to do simple math. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is we need to find the halfway point of my paper, and we're going to split my paper in half, okay? So, my paper is 9 inches, half of 9 is 4, right? 4. No, it is not 4. What is half of 9? 5 is 10. Oh, it must be 4.5. Yeah, 4.5. Okay, so I'm going to find 4, and then the halfway mark on my ruler. I'm going to make a little dot there. And then I'm going to do the same thing on this side. 4.5. Make a little mark. Now, I'm going to use my ruler. I'm going to line it up along my 2 marks. That way I'll make sure I'll have a nice straight line. Okay, now that I have my paper split into 2, I am going to do my name, and I'm going to split it up into how many squares your name is. So, for example, I'm going to flip to a piece of paper so I can show you. So, if your name was Ella, okay, you got 4, you are going to need 2 boxes on top, 2 boxes on the bottom. E, L, L. Get it? Okay, so one more time. Let's say your name is... Let's say your name is Sarah with an H. Now, Ella, you could split evenly because it's 4 letters, even number. Sarah is not even. So what are we going to do about that? Well, I'm going to show you what we're going to do about that. So we're going to put S-A-R on top, so 3 letters on top, then A, H on the bottom, then we have this weird empty square, and what I would like for you to do is kind of customize it a little bit. So I am going to put an exclamation point in that last extra box. You could also probably sell me on the idea of like doing an emoji or something like that in that box if you really feel strongly about it, but I'm going to just recommend that you just do an exclamation point. So if you have an odd number, do majority on top, and then the other half on the bottom. I hope that makes sense. So I'm going to do my name, which I'm going to flip back to my sheet because I did a little sketch before I started this. I'm going to do Crocker. So I need 4 on top and 4 on bottom. So again, this is math. I know this is not fun. So I got 12 inches of paper, and I need 4 boxes, right? So 12 divided by 4. And yes, I'm getting out a calculator for this. So each box should be 3 inches, right? Yeah, okay. So I'm going to make a mark, 3 inches. 1, 2, 3. Okay, again, same thing up top. hate it if you have to erase all your boxes because your measurement's wrong. And then you're like, oh, all these erase marks. Not fun, right? Okay, I have my boxes. Now, I'm going to do my name. But we are painting, so we want to make sure our letters are really thick and big, because if you make these skinny, mini little letters, they're going to be very hard to paint, okay? So I'm going to try and do big block letters. We want them big. If you're having trouble doing this, again, ask for help. Just say, can't quite nail down my R or my E or whatever letter you're struggling with. I'll be there to laugh. You want to make sure your letters almost fill up the entire shape, like almost entirely. And then lastly, so in this last box, I said if you have a better idea of something to do in this extra box, like, shoot, like, tell me. Be like, hey, this is my idea. I would probably go along with it. I'm going to just do an exclamation point. Although, honestly, I should probably do like a rainbow because that's more meaningful to me. But we're just going to do an exclamation point. Okay? Now, we are going to do Sharpie. But, we're only going to do Sharpie on our letters. We're not going to do Sharpie on boxes because I just don't think we need to. Okay, so next, erasing pencil lines that you still see from your letters after you're done Sharpie. Okay. Now, you are ready to paint. So, what you're going to need is you're going to need your paints, which I'm going to be using this set of paints that I have at home. You're going to need your water, which I have this jar. You'll have some kind of container that I give you, and a medium-sized paintbrush. This is the line that I have. Okay, and I don't think you'll need it, but I have a rag here. If you need paper towel or something, you can ask me, I'll have it. Now, when you're setting up your space for watercolor, you do not want this. This is a bad setup. Let me explain. When you dip your brush in the water and then come over here to activate your paints, then you have a chance of dripping water on your painting. No, we don't want that. So your water should be placed pretty much right next to your paints. So you can go from water to paints, without possibly getting it on the picture. Now, pretty much with this, you're just trying out different color combinations, okay? You you don't want the same colors next to each other. So like if this box is red, this box and this box also can't be red. We want each of these boxes to not be like the same color. Like this could be red and this one could be red because they're not touching. If that makes sense. And you just want to try out different color combinations. I understand if you only have like half the amount of colors that I do. If you only have a limited color palette, use it, do what you can. Alright, you might have some repeats. That's okay. It's just have fun with this, okay? So, the first thing you need to do is you need to activate your paints. Honestly, my paints are already activated because I just got done filming my other painting video. So all of mine are pretty well activated. I guess I can show you with the white because that one's pretty dry. And also has some red. So what you're going to do to activate your paints is you're going to dip your brush in your water. You want as much water on this brush as possible, so don't scrape it on the edge or anything like that. You want it nice and liquidy. And then what you do is you swoosh it around, okay? There's a little bit of red in this paint. And you want to swoosh, 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 swoosh. You'll know when you're done swooshing when little bubbles start to form in the center of your well of paints. Okay? This one is pretty good, but I've noticed these paints need a lot of water, so I'm going to go back and get some more and swish, 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 till I get those little bubbles. Now, I understand that this is going to probably not film well. You will not probably be able to see my bubbles, but I give you bubbles. Okay? Now that I've done that, I don't actually want it. I'm good to start painting. I will have this handy dandy spray bottle, so if you want me to activate all of your colors at once, I can do that, because this is a nice tool. Okay, how I would start painting, I would not do one whole block at a time. I would do the letters first, and then the backgrounds, okay? Color is the same, painting is the same as coloring. You want to go slow around the edges, make those bumpers. And then you can go a little bit faster in the middle. Oh, my other tip. For some reason, a lot of my students like to hold their paintbrush like here, thinking that somehow it makes them, like, that's how artists do it. I don't know where they get this idea, but it is false. It's not true. You hold your brush, your paintbrush, just like you hold your pencil. So right near the cuff of it, near that metal part, that's called a cuff, and you hold it just like you'd hold a pencil. You want the most amount of control possible. And I don't know why some kids think that's the best way to hold a paintbrush. It's not. False. To clean off your brush, you're just going to tap it on the bottom of your water container a couple times, and then if you don't need the excess water, don't tap it on the side, because you're going to have paint or water splatter all over. What you do is you take your brush and you scrape it along the edge of your container. Now you're going to be like, this isn't doing anything. Trust me, it is. Believe me, like, it is actually taking the water out of the bristles of your brush. But it seems like it doesn't do anything. Now you can tell your brush needs some more paint when it starts to look kind of speckly, kind of like you can see there. When it's starting to look like that, that means you need more paint on your brush, more liquid. So just go back to your paints, dip it in that paint, get a little more juice. coloring, or when you start doing the background, you want to make sure you paint every other box, so that way the colors from this box don't bleed into the colors from this box. On top of that, you also want to make sure that if you color your letter, say like this one is orange, you really wouldn't want to do like also an orange background. You almost want to choose like the opposite colors so that the color that you chose appears even brighter and more intense. So if I chose a warm color for my letter, I want to choose a cool color for the background of that box, if that makes sense. Of water on your paper. You want to keep it pretty light with the amount of watercolor that's on your paper. You don't want a lot of it, because a lot means a lot of water means it's going to take longer to dry, and we don't want that. The goal is that you can take these home at the end of the day, so that way if you can't come back to school, you still have your art project. Also, you'll notice that I switched out my paint set. The reason I did this is, one, because I have multiple paint sets that I can use. Reason number two is because I wanted to make sure that I didn't accidentally like do the same color or something. Honestly, it's just because I have two paint sets, and I was like, maybe I'll switch to this one. It gives me more color options, obviously. And every other thing is really only if this box is wet, I wouldn't want to paint right next to it. But if you painted this box and then come back the next day, obviously it's going to be dry, so you can work on the box right next to it. So that rule kind of only kind of applies. It doesn't apply all the time. Also kind of purpley, so I'm gonna hope this works out. I'm gonna do green in the background. And I know that some of you might be like, but that's a cool color with a cool color. Yeah, but this color is kind of a cool color, but it's also kind of a warm color. So, you know, you can do that. You're the artist. So when you're painting, if you're trying to get a nice, like, skinny line, you use just the tip of your brush. Whereas if you're trying to get a nice fat line, you press down harder on your brush and use, like, what's called the belly of the brush to make it nice and wide. But if you want something kind of skinny or kind of thin, you use the tip. So like I can tell right here is dry, and obviously right there is dry because that was the first thing I did. So I can start in this box right here. if you start painting a box and like maybe you just get this far and you're like, oh man, I don't like the way those two colors look together, for whatever reason, if you don't like it, this is my tip to you. Finish painting the whole box, let it dry, then you can layer another color over it. It won't cover it completely, but it will help change the color of it to a slightly different color, and hopefully one you like. And if you ask for my help during class, I can help guide you with, like, say you put down yellow, like on this K, and I was like, I did yellow on yellow, that's not what I wanted. Well, I would tell you, if you take blue and when it's dry and layer it over the top of that yellow, it's going to turn green, which is a cool color, which is the color to be cool with. So, but you want to finish painting that whole box, whatever mistake color you did, because otherwise it's going to appear real patchy and weird if you just have like a patch of green down here and then the rest of it's blue.